Welcome children. Take out your history book. Chapter 9. Economic Policies of the British. India prior to the arrival of the British was primarily an agrarian nation with a major of the population living in self-sufficient small villages. Now India, before the coming of the Britishers, India, it was a agricultural country with a major population. They were self-sufficient and they used to live in villages. The cities and towns were mainly centers for trade and commerce, and cities and towns, they were mainly for business. Though agriculture was the primary occupation in the village, handicapped industries, particularly textiles, also flourished there. Though agriculture, it was the main occupation of the people, still handicapped industries were there, particularly textile industries also there. Hence, the primary source of income for the rulers were land revenue. The rulers could collect the land revenue directly through the officials or indirectly through the intermediaries known as the jamindars who were appointed by him. Now, so the primary source of income for the rulers, what was it? It was the land revenue. And the rulers, what they could get? They could collect the land revenue that was directly through the officials or indirectly that was by the intermediaries who were known as the jamindars, and they were also appointed by him. Thus, the jamindars were only the revenue collectors and not the owners. And so, the jamindars who were there? They were only the revenue collectors and not the owners of the land. With the arrival of the East India Company, the agrarian structure started changing. Now, with the coming of East India Company, what happened? The agricultural structure started changing. The sole intention of the company was to amass wealth through trade, and the main intention of the company, what was it? It was to collect wealth through business. As the trade grew, it adversely affected the agriculture and handicapped industries. Now, as the business grew, what happened? It affected the agriculture and handicapped industries in the villages. In order to extract the maximum profit, the East India Company introduced various revenue efforts. Now, in order to extract this maximum profit, East India Company, what they introduced? They introduced many revenue policies. These economic policies promoted the economic interest of the British but exploited the India. Now, this economic interest, what happened? This economic policies, what they did? It promoted the economic interest of the British but they exploited the Indian farmer. After defeating Mir Qasim, the Nawab of Bengal, in the Battle of Buxar, the East India Company acquired the right to collect land revenue from Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Now, after defeating Mir Qasim, who was the Nawab of Bengal in the Battle of Buxar, the East India Company, what happened? They have acquired, they got the right to collect land revenue from Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. The company fixed the land revenue at a very high rate and insisted cash payment. Now, company, they have made the land revenue very high and they insisted to get cash payment. The farmers were compelled to grow cash crops like sugarcane, cotton and indigo. Now, farmers, they were forced to grow cash crops that was like sugarcane, cotton and indigo. They were also sold in the open market instead of food crops like rice and wheat, so the farmers could meet the demands of company officials. Now, they were also, these cash crops, it were also sold in the open market instead of food crops like rice and wheat, so the farmers, they could meet the demands of the, fulfill the demands of the company officials. Company officials were often oppressive and exploitative while collecting the land revenue, so the farmers were forced to borrow money at a very high interest rate from the local money lenders. Hence, rural indebtedness increased. Now, so the company officials, what happened? They were too oppressive and they were very ruthless oppressive, and they used to exploit and while collecting this land revenue. And so the farmers, they were forced to borrow money at a very high rate from the local money lenders, and so the rural indebtedness increased. Land revenue system. A large share of revenue was collected by the East India Company was to pay to the British government as home charges. Now, East India Company, they had to collect a large share of revenue, and they had to pay the British government as home charges. In 1767, a sum was as large as the 400,000 pounds per annum. Now in 1767, this large the amount, it was too large, that was 400,000 pounds and per annum, that was. Moreover, the company needed a steady income to maintain their military and administrative expenses in India too. Moreover, the company, what they needed was steady income, that was fixed income to maintain their military and administrative expenses in India too. Thus, the East India Company realized that an efficient system of revenue collection was needed to allow the company to expand while also maintaining the conquered Indian territory. And so the East India Company, what they realized? They realized that one efficient system should be made to collect revenue and to allow the company to expand while maintaining this conquered Indian territory. The company formulated many theories to extract a steady flow of income from the Indian territories under its rule. Now company, what they started? They made many theories because they wanted to take out the steady flow of income from the Indian territories under its rule, but none was quite effective. To bring stability in the land revenue system in India, some new policies were introduced. Now to bring some stability in this land revenue in India, what happened? Some new policies were, that was permanent settlement, Rotwari settlement and Mahalwari system. Now what is this permanent settlement? The permanent settlement of the Jamindari system was introduced by Lord Cornwallis in 1793 and was prevalent in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, parts of northern Karnataka, Varanasi. Now in 1793, Lord Cornwallis introduced this permanent settlement. It was also known as the Jamindari system and it was prevalent in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, parts of northern Karnataka and Varanasi. Under the permanent settlement system, the auctioning of land, the Izaredari system introduced by Murshid Quli Khan in Bengal came to an end. Now, under this system, under the permanent settlement system, that auctioning of this land, that is the Ikdari system, which was introduced by Murshid Quli Khan in Bengal, it came to an end. Some of the features of permanent settlement are listed. Now, some important features of permanent settlement, they are given below. Now, first is the Jamindars, who initially were revenue collectors, became the permanent legal owner of the land from whom the company collected tax. Now, the Jamindars, they were legally initially they were the revenue collectors, but what they became? They became the permanent legal owners of the land, and from this Jamindar, the company used to collect tax. Second was the Jamindars became the owners of the land where they were given permanent hereditary rights to sell their mortgage their land. Now, this Jamindar, what they became? They became the owners of the land and they were given some permanent hereditary rights that they could sell their mortgage, they did sell or mortgage their land. Now, Jamindars had to pay a fixed revenue to the British every year on a schedule date. Now, Jamindars, what they had to do? They had to pay a fixed revenue to the British every year on a scheduled date. So the company could not make further demands of the Jamindar. And so what happened? Company, it could not make any further demands on the Jamindar. However, if the Jamindar failed to pay the taxes on time, the land was confiscated and sold. But if the Jamindars failed to pay the land revenue on time, what happened? The British used to take their land and then they used to sell that land. The farmers lost their lands and from owners of the land became tenant of the Jamindar. Now farmers, what they used to do? They used to lose their land and the owners of the land. They used to become the tenant. They used to become the tenants of the Jamindar. Hence, the farmer had to pay rent to their local Jamindar, which could arbitrarily be raised at any time. Now, so this farmer, they had to pay rent to their local Jamindar, and it could anytime it could be raised anytime. That means it could raise the taxes anytime. Now, take out your diary, write chapter 9, 3 pages explain, homework, revise it. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.